we have Rob Font versus Deiveson Figueiredo. This is going to be a very intriguing matchup right here because we have a guy in Figueiredo. He's moving up in weight at 135, fighting out flyweight for the last few years or so. Um, Rob Font, 20-7. He's 2-3 in his last five. He's coming off of that short notice loss to Corey Sandhagen, where he was pretty much laid and prayed for like five rounds almost. Uh, he is fighting against Deiveson Figueiredo, 21-3-1. He's coming off of that loss to Brandon Moreno, where he had a doctor stoppage with the eye injury there. Both of these guys are around the same age, actually. So they're both kind of a little past their prime, both over 35 years old. Rob Font's obviously going to be the bigger guy here because he's fighting at 135. Devison's moving up. Odds for this fight right now, just to tell you guys. So the odds right now, Rob Font, he's at minus 141, and he opened up at a minus 170. That's some interesting line movement there. Some people have been taking a little bit of action on Devson just because of the down odds there. Um, yeah, I think that for me, Rob Font, he probably has the best jab at 135. If you look at his jabs, pretty clean boxer, good fast hands. He has pretty good defense and offense. He hits and does not get hit most of the time. He won that banger versus Adrian Yanez. Kind of proved to that young gun that there's levels to this in terms of the boxing. Now, the one kind of issue with Rob Font is that he wears a lot of damage and he's taking some damage throughout his career just because he's fought for a long time in that UFC division. You can kind of see that in his last fight against Chito Vera, where he fought. He actually outstruck Chito Vera in terms of the volume and striking numbers, right? But you can tell that he was bothered by the power shots. I think Chito like dropped him multiple times during that fight and ended up losing a decision to Chito Vera there. So Rob does have good movement in the cage. He can survive on the ground and not get subbed, like you guys saw with Corey Sandhagen, right? Kind of wet blanketed him, but he didn't get subbed. I think that he's only lost by a sub once in his career, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he's only lost a sub by once in his career. I think that Figgy moving up in weight is just going to be the variable that no one knows about, right? Like anytime that a championship former champion level fighter is moving up in weight, man, we don't know what's going to happen, right? I mean, the last time that we saw this, I think the last thing that I remember was Kamaru Usman moving up on like short notice to fight at 185, and you guys saw that he had a championship skill set still, right? I guess a guy that as Hamza Chimaev also moved up as well, but you guys saw that former champions, we can't disrespect these guys too much. They do have a good skill set. There's a reason why they're a champion. Figgy, his kind of skill set at 125 though was more so he had a size advantage on people. He had great power as well. Didn't have the greatest cardio as you guys saw with his weight cuts. It just kind of seemed like it drained him as more and more he went with those fights. I just feel like this fight's going to be just highly volatile just because we don't know if Figgy's power and all that stuff will translate to this weight change. If it does, this fight could end up being like Cheeto for his Font, right? We could see Deiveson outpowering this guy for like 3 rounds, and Font wearing that damage. But if it doesn't, Font's going to be able to outstrike this guy with his jab. I think that he's also going to be the bigger guy here, so that's probably going to help him as well. So I would say Rob by decision right now. I feel like Rob is just going to be a little bit better on the feet, and I feel like just my personal opinion is that the weight move up will not translate that well for Figgy. But I can't be swayed either way. I'll probably look at the weigh-ins and the face-offs just to see how Devson really looks. But right now, the pick is Rob by decision. What do you think about this fight between Rob Font and Deiveson Figueiredo here?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with everything you kind of laid out. I think for me, not I might just slam the over when it comes out.
Oh, yep.
Um, I feel like Figueiredo's, relatively low volume. He kind of likes to, pick his spots to strike. Um, and Rob Font's never been KO'd. And he is the bigger guy, like you said. Um, and yeah, I mean, I think Figueiredo's like, he's tough too. Like he's only been subbed and KO'd in the third round, both against Brandon Moreno. So yeah, the curious what the over is going to open up as. might just slam that and put it into parlays or something.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, I think that, when the props do drop, those are going to be areas where me personally as well, I'm probably going to attack more on the over-unders than rather than the money lines for some of these fights because there's going to be some volatile fights. I mean, I could see a number of outcomes that could happen for the fights. So sometimes I like to bank on the over-unders, especially if guys are like super durable, right? Like a Rob Font or, Figueiredo or so.